ChatGPT said. Aliens didn't know who'd come, then the Deathworlders from the galaxy exposed themselves. The diplomatic hall was radiant with the opulence only a united Galactic Council could muster. Towering crystalline walls, drifting light beams that shimmered in the void, and delegates from hundreds of species gathered on levitating platforms around a central arena. The occasion was monumental. For the first time in 600 years, the Galactic Assembly had extended an invitation to an uncontacted Outer Rim species, coded T98X, or the Unknown Arrivals. The council chamber buzzed with speculation. Every species had a theory. They must be aquatic, considering their planet is 72% water. No, I've heard their gravity is high. Must be thick-skinned brutes. Or winged creatures evolved from ancient gliders. Their atmospheric pressure allows for such biology. The truth was, no probe had returned from the T98X world. Every drone that tried to scan, land, or communicate vanished without trace. No wreckage. No signal. Just static, and then silence. And yet, somehow, they had responded to the Council's invitation. The core species, the founders, were anxious. Varnick of the Ulual Confederacy, a six-eyed strategist from a crystalline species, clicked his appendages nervously. They've accepted. But no envoy has ever traveled from so far in such little time. Their warp signature, it defies understanding. A murmur spread. The holograms blinked. And then the chamber dimmed. They had arrived. A tear opened in space, not a clean blue ripple like conventional warp, but a harsh red scar, like the universe itself groaning under the force of being broken open. From that rift emerged a vessel. It wasn't beautiful. It was angular, armored in matte black plates, with no decorative markers or flashing beacons. It radiated function, not form, brutality instead of diplomacy. Its weapons weren't hidden. Massive forward-facing barrels tracked the room like predators scenting prey. "Is that a warship?" whispered high-voiced Celtrix of the Floren Choir. "Did they bring a battleship to a council summit?" A hiss. The ship's underbelly opened. From within, a boarding ramp extended, and they stepped out. At first, the delegates were confused. The beings looked so plain. Bilaterally symmetrical, bipedal, with soft-looking skin and minimal body armor. But they walked like predators. Straight. Calm. Alert. No hesitation. Their faces were unreadable, eyes forward, like everything in the chamber was already known, mapped, and catalogued. One of them stopped and tapped his collar. His voice boomed across every translation system in the hall. "Greetings. I am Commander Rajan Elric of the United Terran Frontier. Humanity, Earth origin. And we're here because your beacons touched our space." "Earth," whispered a Kalorian diplomat. "That's T98X. But those are Deathworlders." Instantly, the mood changed. Deathworlders, the term reserved for species who evolved on high-lethality planets. Most such planets kill any form of intelligent life before it learns how to make fire. Some, very few, produce something far worse. Not just survivors. Apex survivors. The word carried weight because of history. The few Deathworlders discovered before had either gone extinct from their own wars, or taken too long to reach space. But none had arrived like this. Early. Powerful. Prepared. A timid delegate floated forward. "You received the invitation. That is good. But your arrival ship, it appears heavily armed. Was there a threat?" Commander Elric raised a brow. "You sent a message into deep space. That's not a friendly act, it's a declaration. A beacon. Anyone could hear it. Pirates. Slavers. Harvesters. You should know better." He wasn't wrong. The Assembly's invitations were always laced with passive surveillance probes, tools to measure the species' response, technological capability, and risk factor. To even detect the beacon meant surpassing several galactic tech thresholds. Elric continued. "We disabled your probes before they landed. We watched. We calculated. Then we came." "And why now?" Varnick asked, his tone attempting to maintain control. "What changed?" Elric didn't smile, but his tone shifted. "Because we wanted to see the rest of the galaxy before we decided how dangerous it was. Gasps echoed. Decide how dangerous it was. What is your purpose here? A delegate asked nervously. To learn, Elric said. To map threats. To assess alliances. To determine if we're safer with you, or safer after you're gone. The threat wasn't even veiled. You would go to war with the Council, snapped a militarist from the Dakari Dominion. Do you have any idea how many fleets we command? Another human stepped forward. Her armor bore the mark of Earth's tactical vanguard. Let me guess, she said. You fought between yourselves. Maybe a few border skirmishes with pirates. A rebellion now and then. But tell me, have any of you fought a war where your planet cracked beneath your feet? Silence. Have you faced enemies who can tunnel through magma? Used weather as weapons? Or creatures that think you are prey, even with railguns in your hands? The Dakari delegate hissed. You're making this up. Elric turned toward the hovering screens behind him. Display. Soul War Archive. Planetfall. Trench Cycle. What followed wasn't a simulation. It was a record. Charred skies. Burning oceans. A line of soldiers holding against monstrosities the size of buildings. Entire continents flattened in retaliation strikes. Starships falling like flaming arrows. Tactical nukes used as warning shots. By the time the feed ended, most delegates sat frozen. You call yourselves advanced, Elric said. But you've forgotten what it means to survive. You outsource your wars to machines. You negotiate with species that think submission is virtue. You've grown soft. We haven't. A tall, insectoid ambassador leaned forward. You claim strength. But we claim order. You come here armed, issuing threats. If every species did what you just did, there would be chaos. Elric nodded slowly. You're right. But the universe is chaos. You just haven't met the real part of it yet. We have. And we've learned one rule. He turned and let the silence fall. Another delegate asked, almost whispering, What rule? Elric's voice dropped to a final, steady tone. No one's coming to save you. You save yourself. Or you vanish. The humans turned and walked back toward their ship, leaving behind a hall full of silence, discomfort, and a truth that could no longer be unlearned. The Deathworlders had arrived. And they weren't here to ask permission.